Hi, I'm Fraser Douglas, the avid tent camper again. In this video, I want to talk about the Council Camp Axe as a possible tool for modern tent camping chores. Before proceeding, let me remind you that modern tent campers will not need a razor-sharp hatchet to cut standing trees, delimb fallen trees, buck trees into logs, or split large tree rounds. Instead, modern tent campers staying in developed state and federal park campgrounds will typically buy bundles of firewood and use a camp axe to split this firewood into small pieces of kindling and stove wood. Occasionally, they may use their camp axe to make camp implements such as batons, wedges, walking sticks, or spare hatchet handles. Let me also give you a little background about the Council Tool Company. The company was founded by John Pickett Council in Bladen County, North Carolina, back in 1886. Council was an avid outdoorsman and inventor who perfected the light process for tempering steel and designed a special pulley for turpentine manufacturing. Today, the company is headquartered in Lake Waccamaw, North Carolina, and is still managed by Council's descendants. It is one of the few American axe manufacturers still in operation. Now let me describe the Council 1¼ pound camp axe along with its strengths and limitations. After receiving my axe in the mail, I tried to split several pieces of firewood, but was disappointed by its poor performance. Rather than sinking into the firewood as it should, the axe tended to bounce back. So I sharpened the bit a little and then tried to split the firewood again. This time it performed much better, but not as good as other good quality axes. I split several pieces of firewood into small stove wood and kindling, and then I used the axe to cut chips from a piece of firewood as if I was roughing out a replacement axe handle. Now let me cite 7 specific strengths of this hatchet as a modern tent camping tool. First of all, price. This hatchet is a real bargain. The current retail price is $35, which makes it one of the lowest priced hickory-handled hatchets on the market. I ordered mine from Amazon.com a couple of months ago and paid just $34.79. The most noticeable feature of this hatchet is the bright red painted head. Some axe collectors contend that paint is used to cover up manufacturing imperfections, but I see no evidence of such a cover-up in this case. The axe is nice looking and sturdy, with pretty good fit and finish. The head is well shaped, and the handle seems well fitted to the eye. The red head is certainly noticeable and serves as a signature feature. When you see someone using a red axe in another campsite, you immediately think that it is a Council axe. In addition, the red head makes it easy to find the axe if you misplace it in the campsite. A second unique feature of this axe is the large aluminum wedge rather than a traditional wood wedge. Only time will tell if this wedge lengthens or shortens the life of the handle. The most troubling feature of this axe was that the edge seemed to be covered with some type of varnish or shellac that made it difficult to file at first. But once I got through the shellac, the metal filed just about as well as any other hatchet. The handle of this hatchet is 14¼ inches long. This length seems perfect for modern tent camping chores because it is long enough to generate sufficient force when splitting large pieces of firewood, but short enough to split kindling and to pack in an ordinary tool bag. The axe has a nice hickory handle with reasonably good grain orientation and a nice finish. The head has a semi-rectangular Dayton-style shape with a reasonably small 3/4 inch overstrike zone. As you can see, the head length is a little shorter than the Husqvarna and the Collins 1 3/4 pound hatchet, which would make it easier to pack in your tool bag. The total weight of this axe is 1 pound 13 ounces. Assuming the handle weighs about 10 ounces, you could estimate that the head weighs about 1 1/4 pounds, which is about the same as most scout-sized hatchets. Personally, I prefer a little heavier hatchet head, but this weight has been very popular for over 100 years. Rockwell hardness values were not available on the internet, but as previously mentioned, I filed the bit soon after receiving it, and it seemed to be just as hard as other axes, if not harder. After using the axe to split several pieces of firewood and cut wood chips from hard wood, the bit seemed to be just as sharp as it was after I filed it. So I would guess that the Rockwell value would be between 50 and 55. Now let me discuss 3 limitations. First of all, the axe does not come with a sheath. This is a major limitation because camp axes need sheaths to protect the bit from chipping, to protect other camping equipment from damage, and to protect users and their camping companions from accidental injuries. I was able to make a sheath, but most campers do not have the equipment and know-how to do so. And so they would have to find a sheath that would fit the axe or wrap it in a towel. At first, the bit looks relatively thin and presumably should be a good wood cutting tool. But when you actually cut wood with it, you quickly realize that it does not perform as well as other good quality axes. The reason for this poor cutting, I believe, is the fact that the bit is much thicker in the center than it is at the heel and at the toe. As it is, it will split firewood reasonably well, but the center bit should be filed down considerably before using it to cut kindling, wood chips, and to make wooden implements. Finally, let me address head geometry. To understand this limitation, you need to know where the center line is, where the transverse line is, and where the cheeks are typically tapered. As you can see in this photo, there is a slight concave curvature along the center line, which is standard for most camp axes. However, there is a pronounced convex curvature with a very high peak and extremely tapered cheeks along the transverse line. This feature will certainly help to prevent the axe from sticking in the wood, but when I split firewood, I want it to stick in the wood so I can drive it down the length of the log. As the piece of wood gets smaller, the high peak pushes the wood away from the center off the top of the axe, or worse, down toward the handle, where it can cause overstrike damage to the handle neck. Furthermore, the paint and varnish on the head make it slippery and accentuate this pushing effect of the wood down toward the handle. To solve this pushing problem, campers will have to use a file to grind the center peak down where it's close to the bit. To summarize, this Council 1 1/4 pound camp axe is a very economically priced American-made axe that splits firewood reasonably well and easily fits into a standard tool bag. But before using it, you should file down the center peak of the bit, sharpen the edge, and either buy or make a sheath for it. Furthermore, you'll have to learn how to use it to make kindling without damaging the handle. Well, I hope that this video gives you a little more information about the council hatchet and about hatchets in general. For more information about camp axes, please read my book, Basic Tent Camping. Visit my webpage, www.basictentcamping.com, and visit my Facebook page, Modern Tent Camping. Remember, take more trips, travel further, visit more attractions, and save money. Go tent camping.